Welcome back to Learn with Chris. I'm Chris. Today I'm going to continue reading the Saga of the Volsungs, and I'm going to read chapter 2. And same as the last video, I will read one paragraph, I'll stop, I'll talk about it, explain things, discuss, and go through until we've read the entire chapter. So just a recap of the first chapter. It introduces Siggy, his friend Skathi, and Skathi's thrall or slave, what was his name? Brethi, yeah. And Siggy being the son of Odin, he's a primary character in this story. He's like the ancestor of the Volsung family. One day he goes out hunting with Skathi's son, thrall, and the thrall does better. He hunts better. He gets better quality meat and more. He killed more animals than Siggy did. Siggy gets envious or jealous or angry, and he murders the thrall because he hid the body and he did not admit the crime. He returns back to the village, presumably, tells his friend Skathi that the thrall ran away, which was a lie, of course. Skathi didn't believe him. So Skathi takes some men and he goes and looks for his thrall, and he finds the corpse in a snowdrift. So Siggy is guilty of murder, becomes an outlaw, and he leaves the village. Odin helps Siggy because he is Odin is his father. So Odin helps him go on a journey somewhere, and Siggy becomes a raider, he becomes rich, and eventually he becomes a king in Hunland, which we believe is France, present-day France today. He marries, and he has a child, Rerer. Again, a very hard word to say. And his wife, the brothers of Siggy's wife, so his brother-in-laws, kill him. They basically plot to take over his kingdom. So Siggy dies in the first chapter of the saga, and Rerer gets revenge, kills all of his uncles, reclaims his throne, or his father's throne. And Rerer then, the last part of the first chapter, Rerer is now king. He gets married, he has a wife, but they're childless. They cannot conceive a child. So they ask for help from the gods. Frigg hears, Frigg talks to Odin, and they send an apple via what they call Wish Maiden, which is probably a Valkyrie, daughter of a giant Hrimnir. And the Valkyrie brings an apple to Rerer, and that's where it ended. So, that's the recap done. So let's start reading chapter 2 of the Saga of the Volsungs. Now there is this to tell. The queen soon discovered that she was carrying a child, and the pregnancy continued for a long time without her being able to give birth. Then there came a time when Rerer, as is the custom of kings, had to go on a campaign to pacify his land. On this journey, it happened that Rerer took sick and soon died. He intended to go to Odin. In those days, that seemed desirable to many. So, Rerer or the queen eat the apple. Queen gets pregnant with Rerer's child. Rerer has to go on a campaign, and he gets sick and he ends up dying. So, not sure what he died from, some disease or, I don't know, hypothermia or something. When he says he intended to go to Odin, that of course means that he hoped to die in battle, such that he would be chosen by the Valkyrie to go to Valhalla and to become what's called an Einherjar, a warrior in Valhalla who would train for the final battle, Ragnarok, right, against the Jotun or the Jotnar. So he intended to go to Odin, means he hoped that he would have died in battle. Now it just says, well, I guess because he took sick and he died, that means he did not get that intention of dying in battle. So in which case, Rerer would have been, his soul would have gone to hell, Hel, the afterlife, because he wasn't chosen, because he didn't die in battle. All right, so second paragraph. The queen's distress continued as before. She could not give birth to the child, and this affliction continued for 6 years. Then she recognized that she would not live long and asked that the child be cut from her. It was done as she requested. The child was a boy, and he was already well grown when born, as was to be expected. It is said that the boy kissed his mother before she died. He was given a name and called Volsung. He was king over Hunland after his father. He was soon big, strong, and daring in what were thought to be tests of manhood and prowess. He became the greatest of warriors and was victorious in the battles he fought on his expeditions. So perhaps because the queen was upset that her husband Rerer died, she couldn't give birth. And it continued for 6 years. That's like the longest pregnancy in history. Obviously, this is a mythical story, so it's not, can't be taken literally. So she's got a 6-year-old child in her stomach, or in her womb, I guess. So she was getting to the point where she was going to die because of having an unborn 6-year-old. So she requested effectively a cesarean section to have the baby cut out of her. And the baby wasn't a baby, it was a 6-year-old boy. Kissed his mother before she died, and he was called Volsung. So, of course, the saga of the Volsungs is the Volsungs family, right? So we've already been introduced to Volsung's grandfather, Siggy, and his father, Rerer, and now Volsung. And of course, it's going to continue with his line, Sigmund being the next one, and then many, many more. It's the whole lineage of this family. So he became king. He was king after his father at 6 years old, and he grew up and he became the greatest of warriors and victorious and all of that. So let's continue with the next paragraph. When Volsung was fully grown, Hrimnir sent his daughter Hjoth, who was mentioned earlier when she took the apple to Rerer, Volsung's father. Volsung married Hjoth. They were together for a long time, well agreed and intimate. They had 10 sons and 1 daughter. Their eldest son was called Sigmund, and the daughter was named Signy. They were twins, and in all things they were the foremost and finest looking of the children of King Volsung, though all of the other sons were imposing. It has long been remembered and highly spoken of that the descendants of Volsung were exceptionally ambitious. They surpassed most men named in old sagas in both knowledge and accomplishments and in the desire to win. So sometime later, Volsung, of course, grows up, becomes a man, and the same giant, so remember when we were talking about the Wish Maiden from the first chapter, it said it was the daughter of the giant Hrimnir, and now we have a name for her, Hjoth, which is really hard names to pronounce. So it doesn't say why, but I don't know, maybe the giant and Odin were friends, or maybe it's a favor to Odin. It doesn't say, but Hrimnir sent his daughter Hjoth to marry Volsung. And so look at the lineage of Volsung. He's the, so Siggy is the son of Odin, therefore Rerer is the grandson of Odin. So Volsung is the great-grandson of Odin. And then he marries the daughter of a giant, of a Jotnar. So the children, Sigmund and the 9 other sons and the daughter Signy, they are the bloodline is very potent, right? Because on one side you have the blood of the Aesir gods, Odin, and then on the other side you have the blood of the Jotun, or the Jotnar. And all the children were all exceptional in every way. So, right, okay. All right, one more paragraph. It's very short. It is said that King Volsung had an excellent palace built in this fashion. A huge tree stood with its trunk in the hall and its branches with fair blossoms stretched out through the roof. They called the tree Barn Stalk. So that's the end, I believe. Yes, that's the end of the second chapter. So this tree is going to be important in the next chapter. Now I have the Norse here, the Old Norse translation, and it's, I'm not trying to say it exactly, E-I-K, ek, which is oak. So it's an oak tree. This tree is an oak tree called barnstalk, and there's all kinds of theories about what it means. It could be equivalent to Yggdrasil, because Yggdrasil was also an oak tree. And well, Odin will do something to the tree in the next chapter. But here it's called barnstalk, and again, theories as to exactly what that means. All right, so let's do a summary of chapter 2. Okay, so the queen, the wife of Rere, gets pregnant because they ate the apple of fertility given by Odin, and so she's pregnant, but the baby will not be born because she just won't deliver the baby for some reason. It doesn't explain why exactly. Rere gets sick and dies on campaign instead of dying in battle, which is what he would have wanted so that he could go to Valhalla. The child in the queen isn't born after 6 years, so again, the longest pregnancy in history, perhaps. So she requested, before she died, she requested that the baby be cut out of her, so a cesarean section, which happened. And it wasn't a baby, of course, it was a 6-year-old, because that's how long he was in her womb. The baby was called Volsung, the guy that the whole thing is named after, the Saga of the Volsungs and his family. And when he became a man, he was sent a daughter who was probably a Valkyrie, so daughter of Hrimnir the giant, Hjof. So they married, and they had 10 sons and 1 daughter. Primary of that would be Sigmund and Signy. And as the story continues, there's going to be a lot about them, about Sigmund and Signy. And the last thing they say is that, or the last summary is that Volsung built a palace, and he had a tree through an open roof, tree going up out of the open roof. Which might be considered Yggdrasil or something similar, because it is an oak tree and it's a very special tree, as we will see in the next chapter, chapter 3, which I will read next time. So, thank you for listening along. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments section. Thank you for your time, and have a good day. Bye-bye.